Audience, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have 305 videos on boxing, MMA, animal videos, and all sorts of politics behind the scenes. I'm not dressed well, but I'm very well researched. Listening to the Secret Service once again live from Capitol Hill today. Once again, there's still no answers to, okay, the guy says allegedly the shooter went into a hardware store and bought a ladder. Okay, how did he get the ladder there? No answers for that. Meanwhile, how did he drive a drone around? No answers for that. Did he drive there and then take his bicycle? Because they said there was explosives in his car, but we don't know what kind of explosives they were. Then another question is, when the snipers had him in sight, which was 9 minutes before 11 p.m. when the shots rang out, why was he not shot? Because he's got a rifle in his hand on top of a roof. But worse than that, once he was on that roof and the Secret Service had, their sight on him, okay, why was not President Trump made aware and this guy taken off the roof? No answer. He still can't answer that question. It's amazing. Give you an example. Donald L. Lowe is the new Secret Service director taking the place of Cheadle. And give you an example. Margaret Hanson, Democrat from North Carolina, when she asks a question, never in an invasive question, every single Democrat during the hearing, when they say, oh, we offer our condolences for, and they name the person who was shot, and they name the person who was critically injured, but they never say our prayers are with Donald Trump and his family for all that went on. Never once have they said that. And sometimes it's not what a person says, it's what a person doesn't say that makes him a threat or exposes how he internally feels about you. There's a scripture, and it says, out of the mouth exposes the heart. And what comes out of your mouth, it comes from your heart. And even if they're trying to deflect a question or once they're asked, it's so strange how nobody can answer a straight question anymore, and how lockstep in Stockholm syndrome and undemocratic is the MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, all with the same narrative. Once they used the word, when they were using the word, to try to threaten Iran, Secretary Lloyd Austin, Kamala Harris, President Biden, the one, don't. And then all the news stations, I checked, because I researched, all of them were saying, don't. They all get the same talking point. They all get the same talking point. She was never the border czar. She was never the border czar. She was never the border czar. All the stations say it at once. A lot of people that are independent, have a job. They have children. They, might want to work out, and they just put the news on for 5 minutes in the morning or maybe 10 minutes at night. And that they get their news from wrong sources. And they don't investigate what's going on in our country. Like, I live in an area of South Dakota, Brookings, South Dakota, which is 99% white. And I've never seen one homeless person. I've never seen a crime. You hardly see any police. They're the nicest people in the world. They're isolationists. They really, I've been going to church for 4 years, and only one person has invited me over to their home for dinner. Even though I went to, and they have never once prayed for our country. Not once in 4 years. That's disgusting from a pastor. And that's why people can't stand Christianity today. It's so hypocritical. Especially the men that pastor the churches that line their pockets with tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, in the case, hundreds of millions of dollars. Some of them have homes in, 3 different countries, 5 different countries. Private jets. What gives them the right when that money was supposed to go for the poor? They don't. Any of them don't talk to each other, and they're not like Billy Graham and David Wilkerson, who preached. And if you remember these names, Billy Graham, David Wilkerson, I'm sure everybody heard of Billy Graham. Man, he would fill a stadium of 105,000 people, not ask for a dime from them and preach the gospel, and warn about how starting the corruption in our government and starting to warn the people what to look for. Unfortunately, after him, he passed away, in David Wilkerson. There's nobody else that does that. There's really nobody else. Maybe in a small church that you really don't hear of, but anything that's on televised or on YouTube, they might in general say something, but the pastor is supposed to instruct the congregation. Like April 19th, 1775, 3 pastors and 3 different churches all met at one church because they, in case the British came, they would have 450 men that was surrounded by 700 British troops. But they heard the British were coming to take their weapons. It was leaked. And they didn't have social media like we have today on the internet, TV stations. But the word came that they were going to confiscate guns. And they decided to die instead of give the guns up to the British when they were ordered out of their church. And today, the church would just give the weapons and kiss ass because they signed a 501c3 tax ID number. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but what it does, it says you can't preach against pornography, you can't say children belong to parents instead of the state, can't say to obey the government, God over the government, can't say a word against the Department of Education. And that once you do that, you can't serve 2 masters. You can't cheat on your wife for 3 years and then expect that when she finds out, everything's going to be cool. There's some women that can get over that and move past that and still love their husband, and their husband never does it again. And there's other women that it's like too much for them, and it's too disgusting for them, and they feel betrayed, and they just want to just separate from that person. And I understand both sides. I understand forgiveness, and I also understand, they don't forget. So what I'm saying is this Capitol Hill hearing that's going on with the Secret Service, once again, is the Secret Service, since the shooting, has never even spoke to local law enforcement, even when he went to the site. The new director, Donald L. Lowe, that took the job from Cheadle, who resigned. The embarrassing, she can't answer a question. She didn't give a crap what anybody said either. She's going to retire comfortably with her, secured pension, which is enormous, and she's not really going to lack for anything. So she worked, aside. But there's leaks that on social media, on the internet, that this guy had overseas bank accounts. Now, he did a BlackRock or Vanguard. I'm not sure which one it was, Vanguard or BlackRock commercial. It might have been Vanguard, and which both are corrupt. They're Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street owed 87% of the S&P. They're anti-American, anti-Christ, anti-democratic, and they are the elites that hate our country and hate free democracy. But and nobody should apologize for being a Christian nation. Egypt's a Muslim nation. India's a Hindu nation. Japan's a Buddha nation. So China's an atheist nation. So, we don't need to apologize for loving Jesus. And, if you go to, I just use the same countries, Egypt, you're going to find Arabic people. If you go to Japan, you're going to find Japanese people. If which make up 90% of the population or more. And you go to China, Chinese people make up the population, except for a small percentage of foreigners that come and do business there and live there. But if you come to the United States, you're going to see white people, and they don't want white people anymore. They want to change the trajectory. Half this anti-democratic. Let me just give you an example. That Fox News went to ask this senator, this black woman, and I don't remember her name because it didn't say her name on the screen, but I happened to catch this when they were asking her a question, and she goes, I don't know you. I don't know that situation. You need to get away from my door. I need to serve the American people. Now, that's exactly how she sounded. I go, who the F elected this woman, man? Who elected her? Is half our population not human anymore? In the Bible, in Genesis, it says there were giants in the land, and the Nephilim went into human women, and it created a bad gene. Is that happened again to our world? Because I can't believe that humans are this stupid, but we've become so comfortable that they can't see that this country's on the verge of serious problems of collapsing financially, of war breaking out, of getting like Kamala Harris gets in. She's a tyrant. She voted to ban handguns. She wants to ban assault rifles. She wants to disband ICE. She calls ICE more criminals than the criminals who are coming over here. Sex trafficking, bringing drugs. They come over and they don't come through the ports of entry, the rites of passage, and they don't, under some of them, 41,000 Chinese men, hardly any of them speak any English. So they're going to rely on our government for assistance. What would happen if I was caught in China illegally without my proper paperwork and without coming in to move to China the correct way? I'd probably be held and detained in a military compound. Hopefully the ambassador to China would know which one I'm detained in. Maybe it wouldn't even be, they wouldn't even give me a phone. So, why is it different when they come to our country? Why do we got to be a cesspool for the entire globe? I'm sorry, because here's what you need to do. If you feel you're oppressed, if you feel that, you're owed something, well, I have no leg, right? Do I blame God? Or I say, oh, man, everybody needs to cut off their leg. I don't have a leg. We all need, like Kamala Harris says, we all need to end up in the same place, but we all don't start from the same place. Some of us need a little more help. What do you mean we all end up in the same place, lady? We're gonna put us all in a concentration camp? Or how is it possible we end up in the same place with some people tall, some people short, some people black, some people white, some people born into wealth, some people born into poverty, some people born disformed with their hands crippled. We don't all end up in the same place, and we don't all need to end up in the same place. That's the beauty of the individualism of national populism, of capitalism, of free democracy, where we have inalienable rights from God and not given to us from the government. And this wrong leader gets in because Joe Biden has been a nightmare to this country. And like a lot of people in Brookings here still want to vote Democratic because they're totally unaware of what's going on in New Mexico, Phoenix, Arizona, Tempe, Arizona, California, Los Angeles, Orange County, New York, Westchester County, Orlando, Florida. I've lived in all these places, Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived in so many states before I settled down for the past almost 5 years, going on 5 years here in South Dakota, and I'm glad I have. I'm in a wheelchair. And I moved to a predominantly white area because in the black area, I was getting mugged. I was getting, threatened constantly. And it was a nightmare. You can't even pull out money out of an ATM. They only have 3 shelters. And they have 130,000 homeless people. Tents all over the sidewalk. I can't wheel on the sidewalk. I have to wheel on the street, and they're dumping feces from crapping in buckets into the street, and a car comes. Hopefully I don't wheel. And then my hands are all black and within 10 minutes, and it smells like urine outside. I mean, it's just a bad, and I'm glad I got out of there. And God, I didn't know where I was going, but I knew when I got there, I would know that I belong. And that's what happened. And I get great medical here, and I'm safe here. I could pull out money from the ATM. People open a door for me instead of shut the door in my face, or, use me as whoa, there's a victim. I got a pouch around my waist with my money in it. And, I'm vulnerable to society that I can't fight or run from a wheelchair. If you think you can, you're wrong. You can maybe throw some punches, but you can't effectively fight anybody. Maybe a 12-year-old might kick your ass, And I was a professional, semi-pro fighter, sorry. And I sparred with professional fighters, trained professional UFC fighters, guys that fought in the UFC, MMA, and I was a great coach, and that's been taken from me because of my seat in a wheelchair. But do I want everybody else to have no leg because I don't have a leg, so we can all end up in the same place? Okay, Colin, you cut off your leg and sit in a wheelchair all day, and then we all end up in the same place. See, it's not possible to end up in the same place. But this hearing from the Secret Service back to Donald L. Lowe Jr., once again, can't answer a straight question, doesn't have the information. He doesn't even say, yes, I have that, I can divulge it in a private setting, classified hearing. This same, he's a little better than Cheadle, but not much. That's all I want to say is let's pray for America, and please, Kamala Harris wants to, her radical positions, wants mass immigration, then changes her policy. She bailed out people from Black Lives Matter, from the CARE program that is funded by Open Society, and same with Black Lives Matter. And the owners, the people at the top, these ladies, bought $1 million homes. So she actually bailed out people who then committed murder and were in jail for attempted murder and had several piddling children on their record, and she bailed them out, and so, she was for cities burning up in America. She didn't care that those people that own those businesses worked their whole life, and then it's going up in flames. Their houses go up in flames, their cars go up in flames, they're threatened, they don't feel safe. This is the beauty of our country, and it's being eroded. I hope people recognize that, and thank you so much. God bless, like, and subscribe. I have a lot of content and a lot of information and a lot to share, because I don't want this lady to become the president of the United States. And also, please, pray to God, and I have faith in Jesus Christ. I believe He's all that was promised and more. He is who He says He is. And there's a difference between Jesus, because no other one was seen resurrected after death, or prophesied His death, or even prophesied the coming of Him. Which has been proven in prophecies all over the Bible. So please, pray, and pray for our country, pray for Donald Trump, and pray for the right leader to get in if you're unsure. God will show it to you. I pray this, Father, I pray for America right now, that we elect Donald Trump, you get him over the finish line, get him into the White House, and change the ship from hitting the rocks, because, and the churches that have kissed butt to the IRS, please give that 501c3 tax ID number so they're free to preach what you would want them to preach. And you can't bow your knee to Pharaoh, take 30 pieces of silver and preach the gospel. It doesn't work like that. Thank you. God bless you. And have a good night. Have a good day.